Hello everybody, LAY-Z here, welcome to my channel, and today it's how to deflate your LAY-Z-SPA and pack it away. This is for the LAY-Z-SPA Bahamas model, but it should be similar on other models. This video assumes that you've already emptied, cleaned and dried out your LAY-Z-SPA. And what we'll be doing today is disconnecting the main unit from the LAY-Z-SPA, attaching the deflation device to the LAY-Z-SPA, deflating the LAY-Z-SPA and the cover, and then cleaning the filter housing and the ChemConnect, ready for it all to be packed away for the winter. You may still need to do some cleaning, so put some hot water into a bucket with a dishwasher tablet, and then use a non-scouring sponge. And you'll probably need a clean towel because the underside of the LAY-Z-SPA will still be damp. And that's because when you're in it, or lots of people are in it and all the bubbles are on, it will overflow quite a lot with water, and all that water will go underneath the LAY-Z-SPA. So even though you've dried it out inside, the underside will still be damp. The first thing we need to do is disconnect the LAY-Z-SPA unit. So just unscrew this one first. That one is now disconnected. Now let's do the one underneath. These hoses are part of the water filtration system and the heating system. Let's get this one undone. Great stuff. Now let's go around the other side and disconnect this one, which does the bubbles. So unscrew that. So now all the pipework is disconnected, so just gently move the LAY-Z-SPA unit away from the LAY-Z-SPA. Fabulous. The LAY-Z-SPA will be wet underneath, so I'm just going to lift it over and place it on a dry sheet over here. If there's two of you, that will be easier to carry. And Daisy's getting extremely curious about what is going on in my garden. Oh. Right, move the LAY-Z-SPA unit over to near the inflatable LAY-Z-SPA, and in your box you should have these parts. You've got this deflation device adapter, and you've got this hose, and you've also got this special deflation nozzle. What we'll do first is connect the deflation device. This goes on the air bubble connector, so just offer it up against that rubber washer and then screw it on. Make sure it's tight, but don't go crazy tight because you don't want to damage those plastic threads. Now we can connect the hose. This is what we'll be using to deflate the LAY-Z-SPA. Now this deflation device that we've just attached has got air vents on it. It's a safety device, so you cannot deflate it too much and damage it. Now at the other end we need to attach the special deflation nozzle, but before we do that we'll just unscrew this cap here. This is where the air will deflate from. And if I just push in this nozzle here, you can hear that it starts deflating. So first of all, detach the current inflation device, just turn it, just twist it and pop it out. Then take the special deflation nozzle, push it in hard and then twist it so it locks into place. That is now ready. What you do is you push that as far in as you can get it, and you will hear it start to deflate. But what we can do is make the LAY-Z-SPA unit help us along and do it super quick in under 5 minutes. So what you do is unlock the keypad, then press the bubbles icon. And the LAY-Z-SPA is now deflating. Now to save you sitting through this for 5 minutes, I'm just going to speed this footage up. And as I mentioned earlier, you can't damage the LAY-Z-SPA by leaving the deflation device on for too long, because it's got a special safety device on the air vent, so you cannot damage it. And this is coming up to the final stages. So I'm just going to give it a bit of a help along to make sure that it folds down nicely. And what you don't want to do is pack away your LAY-Z-SPA damp, because then if you're not using it for 6 months or so, you could start to get mould appear on your LAY-Z-SPA or even inside it. While it's deflating, I'm just going to take a towel and just dry off any damp parts on it. Now I'm just going to flip it over. When you flip it over, be careful not to stretch the deflation hose. And the underside, even though it's been laying on a sheet, is still fairly damp, and actually it's pretty dirty as well, so I don't want to pack that away dirty. So take your bucket with your dishwasher detergent hot water in it and your non-scouring sponge, then just give that a really good clean, get rid of any dirt and debris around the edges and on the underside. Then take your towel and then dry off all of the underside so it's nice and dry before we flip it back over. Right, that's all nice and dry on the underside. I'm just going to flip it back over and then just dry off any more dampness on the top with my towel. Now disconnect the deflation hose and quickly get on the cap, so screw that on nice and tight. That just stops any air getting back in the LAY-Z-SPA and it starts kind of re-inflating itself slowly. You can leave the LAY-Z-SPA unit running for a little bit because there will still be some water inside here. Now I'm going to turn off the bubbles. Now there are various caps that come with the LAY-Z-SPA. And you can put these caps on, but my advice would be not to put those on because then it still helps with ventilation when you've stored it away. If you've got any slight dampness trapped inside, then with the caps on it's not going to be able to escape. Also remember to dry out and deflate the cover, and you can do this with the deflation device again. This just slots straight in, get that nice and flat. Then dry that out with towels or on your washing line. Now let's disconnect the deflation hose. Just unscrew that anti-clockwise. Just pop that off. Now we disconnect this by unscrewing the locking nut at the back there. Now I'm going to turn off the LAY-Z-SPA unit. Just hold the power down and then unplug it from the mains. Then this will be ready to pack away. Just going to press the red button, that cuts the power. Then we're also going to unplug it. As with the other items of the LAY-Z-SPA, there may be some dampness on this cable, so take your towel and just give the cable a good wipe. But I'm going to store this indoors for about a week or so before I pack it all away, just so it's nice and dry. Just drying off the cable. And now the LAY-Z-SPA unit is inside where it's nice and warm, just ready to dry out, and the cover and the outer cover, and then finally the actual LAY-Z-SPA inflatable spa, which I've left inside to dry out. And then once it's fully dried out, you can roll it up and put it back in the box. Yeah, good luck with that. You know what it's like trying to get something back in the box. But before we pack it all away, remember to clean your ChemConnect device and your filter housing, because you don't want to store those away dirty if they're a little bit grimy. Just give those a wash just with some hot soapy water. This filter's had it, that can go in the bin, but you can actually clean them using a washing machine. There's a link above now about how to do that. Just saves you a bit of extra cash, makes it last a little bit longer. So wash all these out and then make sure they're nice and dry, ready to go back in the box. And I tell you what, I think that definitely deserves a lovely cup of tea. In the top right, there's a video on how to adjust the chlorine strength on your ChemConnect device. In the top left, there's a link on how to clean your filter using a washing machine. That just saves you a bit of cash. And in the bottom left, the running costs of your LAY-Z-SPA. I hope that was useful to you.